Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be learning how to cut a hoodie, and I'm going to be taking you step by step on how to achieve that. If it's something you would love to learn, make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video, like, share and subscribe. So I'm going to rule a straight line here, which is going to serve as our shoulder line and our starting point as well. So from that line I'm going to come down to mark the length of our hoodie. I'm going to be marking 23 inches. You can decide to make it shorter or longer. It all depends on what you want. And I'm going to rule a straight line here. So I'm going to label it top length. I'm going to come up to the shoulder line and I'm going to divide my shoulder by 2. If you've seen a hoodie before, you will realize that they always have an extension from the shoulder line. The shoulder is not exactly at the shoulder. There is always an extension. So I'm going to add 2 inches as my extension. You can decide to do more than this. The higher the number, the bigger the hoodie. So I'm going to add 2 inches as my extension. So at that point, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slant. So I'm still going to come here to mark my neck width. I'm going to mark 3.5 inches. You know, we are not going to put zip, so you mark something that your head can pass through. So I'm going to connect that point to the shoulder slant. So I'm going to come here to mark my neck depth. I'm going to mark 1 inch for the back because we're going to use this pattern to cover both the back and the front. So for the neck depth for the back, I marked 1 inch, and then for the front, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches, and I'm going to connect back to the neck width this way. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark my arm length. You know, hoodies are usually free, so we're not going to make the armhole tight. Ordinarily, I would have divided my bust by 6, then add 1.5 inches to get my arm length. But since it's a hoodie, I'm going to come down by 9 inches for my arm length. And I'm going to mark what I have on my shoulder line here. What I have here, I'm going to mark it here to get a straight line at this point. I'm going to mark it right here, and I'm going to connect from the shoulder slant all the way to that point we just marked. So I'm going to extend the line across this way, and the next thing we are going to do right now is to impute our round body measurement. And this is what it is. If you are making a crop hoodie, like your hoodie is stopping at the waist, you are going to divide your bust measurement by 4, and then you add 2 to 3 inches to the measurement. It depends on how big you want it. But if the hoodie is getting to the hip, you are going to divide the hip by 4 because it's going to be the biggest part of your measurement, and then you add 3 to 2 inches. It depends on how big you want it. So since mine extended to the hip, I divided my hip by 4, and I added extra 3 inches to the measurement. Like I said, it depends on how big you want it. You can decide to do 1, 2, but just know that hoodies are not tight. So I'm going to mark the midpoint of this line, and I'm going to connect it to the point I just marked on the chest line to form my armhole. And this is basically it. So whatever I have on the chest line, I'm going to bring it down to the top length. It's a free top. It's not tight, so we're not going to shape it or anything. So whatever I have on the chest line, I'm going to bring it down to the top length. So I forgot to mention earlier, when marking the length of your hoodie, make sure to subtract the inches you are using for your band, because there's going to be band at the base of the hoodie. Make sure to subtract that inches so that by the time you are done with the top, it is not too long for you. So make sure to take note of that. When you are marking the length, subtract the inches you are using for your band. If you are using 3 inches band or 2, make sure to subtract that. So we are done with the bodies. We are going to use this to cut both the back and the front. So I cut out the back neck first, like I said earlier. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to draft out the hood, the cap itself. So I'm going to be using 14 by 12 inches, 14 for the length and then 12 inches for the width. It depends on how big or how wide you want your cap to be, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm using 14 for the length and I'm going to use 12 for the width. You can do more than that. You can decide to use 16 for the length and then 14 for the width. It depends on how big or small you want your hood to be, the cap to be. So I'm going to be taking the 12 inches all the way down for the width of the hood, and I'm going to connect the line this way. So we have like a square here. So this is going to be the center front, and this is going to be the back of the cap. So I'm going to come off from here by 2 inches. I'm going to mark the 2 inches all the way from the length. I'm going to mark the 2 inches all the way and extend the line across this way. So we have a straight line this way. So on this line here, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches inward from the center back. I'm going to mark 1.5 inches and then connect it all the way down. So from the 1.5 inches, I'm going to check what I have here and divide it into 2 equal halves to get the midpoint. I'm going to mark the midpoint here, and I'm going to extend that point to the length of the cap this way. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to shape our hood. So I'm going to come in by 4 inches from the center back and then come down by 4 inches here, and I'm going to connect the 2 points together. We are trying to get the ogo. Yes, we're going to form the ogo. This ogo we have at the back here, and I'm going to connect it all the way to the 1.5 inches we marked earlier. We are trying to shape the cap. We are going to shape it. You can see that the shape is coming out already. Then from the center front, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. You can decide to do 2, 3. It depends on how covered you want the hood to be or the cap to be. And I'm going to connect the point together this way. You can see how the shape is coming out already. Then I'm going to mark the midpoint of this line here, and I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. You can decide to do 1. It depends on how you want the shape to be here, how covered you want it or wide you want the face to be. This is the center front, and then I will just connect the dot all the way to this point this way. I'm just trying to shape our cap, so you just follow what I am doing. Then the next thing, I'm going to come down from here by 1 inch. From the base, I came down by 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect from the 1 inch to the midpoint with my curve. Please pay attention to how I'm placing my curve rule so that you get it right when you are doing yours. Then I'm just going to connect from there to the 1 inch I came down earlier with my curve rule as well. Please pay attention to how I'm placing the curve rule. So this is basically it for the hood. You can see the shape of our hood, the cap, right? So this is the back neck. This is where it's going to be sitting. So this is basically it. This is so simple to do if you pay attention to the video. So we are going to draft the pocket. We have like a pocket in front, so we're going to draft the pocket, and I'm going to be using 8 inches for the height of the pocket, and I'm going to use 8 inches for the width as well. So I'm going to mark the 8 inches all the way, and I will rule a line across this way. Then for the width, I'm going to use 8 inches also. I'm going to mark 8 inches all the way down to get like a perfect square. So it depends on how wide you want your pocket to be. You can do more than 8 inches, right? You can even decide to make your pocket smaller. So it all depends on what you want. So I'm going to go in by 5 inches here. You see how I place my tape? I'm going to go in by 5 inches. You can decide to do 3. It depends on how much of a distance you want in between the pocket. Then I came down by 4 inches. I went in by 5, and then I came down by 4 inches, and I just connected the 2 lines together. And this is basically it for the pocket. So this is all for the pattern drafting. It's a very simple tutorial. Very, very simple. If you have watched to this point and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do wait to hit on the subscribe button. Subscription is totally free. Subscribe, like, share, and do wait to comment. If you have any question, anything you don't understand, anything you want me to throw more light on, anything at all, do wait to drop it in the comment section just so I can attend to it. And most importantly, turn on the notification bell. If you have subscribed, turn on the notification bell so you can be notified anytime we drop new videos, so you don't miss out on anything. So when cutting this on your fabric, you are going to cut 4 pieces of the hood, which is the cap. You are going to cut 4 pieces. You are going to join them together. One is going to serve as a lining and then the main fabric. Then for the pocket, you are going to cut it on fold, and then for the main shirt, you are going to cut it on fold, both the back and the front as well. Thank you so much for staying tuned. See you in my next video.